Hey, welcome to this edition of SA Crypto's Market Analysis with myself, James Preston.
Myself, Graeme Tennant.
It is Tuesday, 21 May. It's around about lunchtime. Officially, it's 11:17. And a couple of things to talk about in our regular weekly market analysis. We're going to look at some alts today. So a lot of action looking to happen in the altcoin markets. Bitcoin pretty much playing out as you expected. Hey Graeme, you were worried about that $8,000 zone. So let's start with the Bitcoin market, then you can take us through some of the alts.
Great. So look, in general, I think that we're still looking pretty bullish on the Bitcoin market, broadly speaking. I think the fact that we've had such a strong upward move without any real significant kickback. We did get a pretty significant drawdown, and specifically on Bitstamp was the hardest hit for whatever reason, and we had a very big candle come down. However, we then bounced back very swiftly thereafter and have taken back quite a bit of ground. So we're pretty much sitting at the previous highs, just around the 8,000 level, which seems to be pretty well. I mean, it is pretty strong resistance. But for me, the crucial thing is that we haven't broken back down below the 6,000 level, which was such a key level that we spoke about on the way up, and then broke like a knife through butter. And since then, we've held that level without any problem, really, barring this one retest on the way down. So on the whole, I'm really liking the look of the cryptocurrency market, broadly speaking, as well as Bitcoin at this point in time.
So that means obviously when Bitcoin's looking healthy, we can get into the altcoins. So which alts are you looking at?
Cool. So look, on that, I mean, Bitcoin is still your guard market, and Bitcoin needs to look healthy in order for your alts to be attractive. But at the same time, Bitcoin can't be tearing away like it was earlier this month, because then people are selling the altcoins to buy Bitcoin. So It really is a delicate balance.
Right.
And alt season is very difficult to time, and it's usually very short-lived. So, but having said that, our alts have done quite nicely, and really since Bitcoin started to cool off, that was really the signal for the alts to then to catch up. And Ethereum is one that we highlighted last week, and it's done exceptionally well. So we looked at this being a potential resistance level, which we broke through with really good momentum, and I think that we're setting up for a next move to the upside here. So this is Ethereum in US dollars, and if we go in a little bit closer, I think we're making a flag pattern here. All right, so we've broken through that resistance. We're now consolidating, which is a healthy sign, and I think it's a matter of time until we get the next leg to the upside. So broadly speaking, that's our pennant or our flag, and then I'm expecting, if we get an upside break here, that we're going to continue that upward move. So I really like the look of Ethereum. So that's it on the dollar chart, which is great. But this is a good thing to remember in altcoin season, or in bull markets in crypto in general, is that when the market's moving up, you want to now be measuring your gains in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's no good, getting 20% on your alt when Bitcoin did 50. Okay. So this is where we need to look at the altcoins versus Bitcoin charts to see, is there strength not just in the USD market, like we can see here, but is it stronger potentially than Bitcoin? And for me, the answer is yes. So again, we got this really nice big move off the bottom, and you can see this is the daily charts are longer term, but we're getting some consolidation around these levels here. And now I think we potentially looking to really move strongly to the upside against Bitcoin. And this same type of pattern is emerging here. So if we break to the upside of this, what I think is a falling wedge, then that should look really good, even compared to Bitcoin, which is the best type of scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Binance Coin. You haven't spoken about Binance Coins this year on market analysis.
Haven't I?
I don't think you have. I think last year was cool. It's been that long.
Yeah.
Look, we'll have to look at our records, but I don't think you've looked at Binance Coin this year.
Yes.
On market analysis, and I stand corrected. We'll have a look. But what are you seeing here? You've got the US dollar tether chart and Binance Coin to Bitcoin as well.
So I think Binance is a really interesting one because it's done so well and it's been getting a lot of the headlines. So if we look at the at the US dollar chart. So now we're going back till what's that? December 2018, which was the low, and it's done 5x. So it's done over 500% over the last essentially half a year, the last 6 months, which is exceptional. So you've done really well in Binance Coin. If we compare it to Bitcoin, however, I think you're starting to get a little bit of a different picture versus the Bitcoin price. So Binance, I'm going to tell you, is one that I'm going to stay away from right now, because even though I think there's potential gains to continue in US dollars, I think relative to Bitcoin, we're not looking as strong as perhaps Ethereum. So here you can see that we got this previous high, we then dropped down quite, we dropped down quite aggressively below this previous low, and now we're trying to get back up to those previous levels, and you can see that we got a fairly significant rejection at this area here, which looks like that could potentially be the local top for now.
Right.
We didn't get to the previous highs that we were at the end of April. So this says to me that there could be a bit of steam running out of this upward trajectory. So this is one that I'm going to steer clear for at the moment, but definitely going to keep an eye on it, because when you got that much news and good feelings coming out of a project, then it's worth keeping an eye on. But that's what I'm staying away from right now.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So from a fundamental perspective, you're interested because there's so much news happening, but from a purely technical perspective, you're a bit nervous at this stage.
Yeah, so I won't be into it. So
right.
I think Ethereum's looking better. And then the last one I will just look at is Stellar. So Stellar is generally even more volatile than Ethereum.
Yeah.
So if Ethereum goes up 1 point, Stellar sometimes will go up 2 points. So this is, for me, my high risk play, and I like the look of Stellar. It's quite similar to Ethereum. Again, now we're looking at the Bitcoin chart for Stellar, which has been pretty weak for quite a long time, but then we got this really nice bounce off the bottom, similar to Ethereum, and in the same way we're making a falling wedge type of structure. So we're consolidating after that big move to the upside, and I like the look of this this falling wedge, which again, once we break to the upside, I think has got a lot of potential to move with quite a lot of velocity to the upside. So those are the two I like, Ethereum and Stellar. Definitely don't sell all your Bitcoin, always keep some Bitcoin to diversify across your portfolio in general, because again, your big threat here when you load it up on alts is that Bitcoin starts to skyrocket, and then your alts might even be negative, because you've got this big move of money out of the alts back into Bitcoin to jump on the Bitcoin train, and your alts hurt, not just in Bitcoin terms, but sometimes even in dollar terms, even in a bull market, and that's the scenario that you want to avoid. Yeah. So definitely keep a balance of Bitcoin, but for me, it's definitely time to start looking at adding some alts to the portfolio.
All right, well there we go. That's it. Nice, short and sweet for this week, folks. We'll catch you next week in the next edition of SA Crypto's Market Analysis. Graeme, thanks so much.
Cool, thanks James.